But I now want to introduce a wonderful lady that I get to work with and admire greatly. Josie is going to introduce the next speaker.
Thanks, Leanne. I have to say that was a very, very hard act to follow. That was just a sheer act of courage and has left me very, very humbled. My name is Josie Arnold. I'm a local funeral celebrant. I work in association with William Barrett and Sons here in Bunbury, Busselton and in the southwest. I also work as an announcer for Bunbury Community Radio, if anybody knows of it. It's one of the faces behind the mic. But look, in my capacity as a celebrant, I am so very, very privileged to work with the Busselton Hospice Incorporation. I present their annual memorial service every November down in the Bantry Chapel in Busselton, and in doing so I've got to know some of the staff and volunteers there. They are a remarkable bunch of people. And our next guest, Rosie Brown, is the CEO of Busselton Hospice. And I asked her the other day, she's been a CEO for 4 years there, and I asked her the other day, what is the most rewarding part of your job? And in her very humble way, she said, supporting the supporters who support our community. And I thought, that is incredible. And she said, seeing how they all go the extra mile and the difference that it makes to everyone's lives that they touch. And I thought, what an amazing job to do and what an amazing thing to say. So without any further ado, I would like to invite Rosie Brown to come forward, the CEO of Busselton Hospice.
Kaya Wanju to everyone in the room and online. The Compassionate Communities Network logo is the Tree of Life, and it's a perfect metaphor for me to use to explain and understand the role and the value of palliative care volunteers in a public health approach to providing world-class end-of-life care. To begin, though, it's really important that we understand the roots of the palliative care movement and the grounding principles on which it was founded. The pit of despair has always been a part of human suffering. It can't be avoided or removed, and in fact it's a necessary part of the human experience. It has physical dimensions which clinicians understand and manage beautifully, but it also has spiritual, relational and social dimensions, and these are best understood by community-held wisdom. For this reason, from its inception, the palliative care movement has always recognised and included community volunteers because we are better together. Community and identity are inseparable and interwoven. A founder of the palliative care movement, Dame Cicely Saunders, famously said, "Everyone matters right up to the last breath." Dame Saunders understood that each individual's identity is shaped by community. She understood that different identities bring different worldviews and different spiritualities, and that these inform the way people make sense of illness, suffering, distress, dying, death, grief and loss. Palliative care volunteers come from all walks of life, and they bring this diverse understanding to the compassionate care that they provide. Dame Saunders recruited palliative care volunteers before she recruited palliative care clinicians, and that was because of her unshakable belief that community was a vital element of holistic, compassionate end-of-life care. In today's world, clinicians need to be able to trust that palliative care volunteers understand and remain loyal to their scope of practice and their boundaries. This trust is secured by skilled volunteer coordinators who ensure the robust recruitment of suitable volunteers, the comprehensive and appropriate induction training for the role, clear role descriptors, duty statements and policies for service delivery, ongoing skill and role development, and vigilant role supervision and individual volunteer support. Palliative care volunteers water the roots of the palliative care movement. They're more than kindly custodians of wisdom. They're active participants in the delivery of compassionate care. They water those roots by being present as human beings, not as human doings, by listening without judgment or offering solutions or trying to fix what's broken, by providing companionship, being able to sit together in the pit of someone's despair without taking on their suffering. In doing this, they form the trunk of the tree. They provide the emotional, social and practical support to people receiving palliative care in hospital, in their home or in a hospice. To the carers, the family and friends of people receiving palliative care, to people who are grieving, to other team members of the multidisciplinary care team, to each other and to themselves. And this is the tree that bears the best fruit. For palliative care volunteers, it presents an opportunity to enjoy a rare and privileged role. The inclusion of lay people in the multidisciplinary team affords palliative care volunteers a status in the healthcare setting that is unmatched in any other volunteer role. And this is in fact a very rare thing in the medical world. There's also sustenance for the palliative care team, who are validated and valued. By embracing volunteers, the palliative care team demonstrate their value for the diversity and the collective wisdom in their community. And by donating their time, palliative care volunteers demonstrate their value for the skill and care of the palliative care team. Knowing our work is meaningful, valuable and valued is sustaining and inspiring and brings out our best selves. And the sweetest fruit of all is that we are better together. Palliative care volunteers provide a bridge between the formal and the informal care, between clinical and non-clinical care, and between the expert-lay divide. Together, the multidisciplinary care team and the community provide the holistic, compassionate end-of-life care people need, want and deserve. Palliative care volunteers are a must-have inclusion in any palliative care service, not merely a nice-to-have feature. As we've seen, they're part of the very roots, the foundations of palliative care. For this reason, it's essential that health services factor in resources to support and sustain palliative care volunteers alongside the other members of the multidisciplinary care team. Thank you.